Hey everyone, I'm the Idea Maker, and today I'm going to be giving my official non-spoiler review on Jurassic World Rebirth. So I went to go see this in 4DX with friends on Thursday, July the 3rd, and I gotta say, this was an amazing experience. I gotta say that I was blown away with the fact that I didn't Well, see, when I first walked into the theater, and before I walked in, I was thinking to myself, um, how are they going to do it with bringing back the original essence of the first one, the first Jurassic Park from 1993? And I thought, how are they going to do it for a modern era of today? And, fast forward 32 years later, and and I'm like wondering, how are they going to do it? But luckily, the great thing about it is that they ended up doing something with this one where I feel like it definitely puts it over the top to where it's better than you expect. I'm not going to really dive deep into it, but I'm just going to give it as brief as possible. This is a non-spoiler review. Spoiler reviews will be for the reviewed or the revisited reactions that I'm going to be doing, especially since when I go see a movie in the theaters and then when I go see it the second time, I like to get a better idea and a better understanding when I watch it the second time before I give my spoiler reviews, just because I think that audiences should get a second chance to being able to watch the movie first in theaters before it hits streaming. And then once it hits streaming, that's when I will give my honest review more towards the end after revisiting the movie again and reacting to it again. It might kind of sound like a bad strategy, but I really feel like this is the strategy I need to take in order for me to be able to give a better opinion about it. So one thing that I could say is that when you watch this movie, to me it felt like two different movies at the exact same time. Now, in the trailers, I know that they kind of talk about, or they kind of show a little bit about how there's a family that's on vacation while there's the main team that they're on the island. Now, it's gonna feel, according to how I took it, um, I honestly felt like two different movies. But the nice thing about it is that when you watch when you watch it, it's not gonna feel like it's not gonna feel daunting. To me, they actually perfectly balance the two. I think that it's one of the more impressive parts of this movie, and I don't know if I really don't know if everyone here or whoever's watching this before seeing Jurassic World Rebirth, I don't know if you were probably thinking that maybe it's not gonna work. But let me tell you the premise, the way how they set this up, in my opinion, this is more of a nice way of answering certain questions that maybe you might be having. And I think that it's very interesting on how they address some of these questions from the first Jurassic Park, from Jurassic World, and tying it in. The interesting thing about it too that I'm just gonna give this one because if you're thinking that somebody from the original trilogy or the Jurassic World trilogy is gonna show up, unfortunately, there's no cameos. There's brief mentions about the movie, about the original movie, about Jurassic World. There's a few different mentions, which is perfect, and luckily, it does. The beauty about it is that I think even though that they don't really mention anything about the other previous entries in the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise, I think that it's actually the way how they have it is that this is a good movie, and this is like it's like they say this is a direct sequel to Jurassic World Dominion, and I believe that it is. I believe that it's not only just a direct sequel, but I believe that they answer some questions that I've had, and I think that some people might have had before as well, and they answer them to a point where you don't even, sometimes you might have think, oh, okay, I had this question before, and you never really thought about it or went back to it until they bring it up again. And this is the nice thing about Jurassic World Rebirth, is that it's not only just like a rebirth of the franchise, but it's also more like a rebirth in the sense of feeling sorry, a little tired. It's like it's kind of a little early for me doing this one, but I wanted to get it done and get my opinion out there for you guys. But I feel like it's also a rebirth in the wonder and the magic of what Jurassic Park was back in 1993, and that feeling that you had when watching it for the first time, and it just brings you back to that sense of wonder but fear at the exact same time. And I think that Jurassic Park and Jurassic World is one of those franchises that it gives a sense of both. Like, you're wondering and you're excited about what you're going to see, but when it comes to fear, you're fearing what else did InGen and these other companies do to be able to try to recreate these dinosaurs and bring them back. And this movie talks about the questions of, was it ethical on them to bring it back, and when doing so, was it important for them? Like, was it necessary? Was it a necessity to bring them back? Like, how does that really impact a lot of the way that we live? And especially because it takes place 5 years after Dominion, it does make you answer the question on, now that they're somewhat living among us, now that these dinosaurs are somewhat living among us, how are we going to take it? How is it that we're going to now see that there is going to be something bigger than ourselves? Like, how is this going to tie in with everything else worldwide? And I think that this movie, I think the movie does more of a good job on asking the deeper questions about when this program and when genetically recreating and altering and mutating these dinosaurs, it's like you're asking those questions, and I think this movie does a good job on answering it. I've seen some reviews where they say that this is basically capturing the same thing as the same atmosphere and tone as the original Jurassic Park. I believe that is the case, in my opinion. It's the same writer from the first and the second entry in the main franchise, and I believe that this is a good thing, because that it captures that same spirit and that same tone and atmosphere as the original. Especially, you need something like that when it comes to Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, because I remember that after Fallen Kingdom and when it went to Dominion, there were those who felt like Jurassic Park and Jurassic World didn't really live up to its standards anymore. And I think that it's sad to think, because realistically, I went and I recorded my reactions for all 6 Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies before seeing this one. I haven't gotten them all out by the time that this video has been up, but what I'm doing is that I'm gonna go through these Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, and I'm gonna try to get them out as fast as I can and as best as I can before Rebirth comes out, and I go and do a revisited reaction and a spoiler review for it, because I feel like this is the way to do it. And I think that this is very essential when it comes to the franchises that I go into. And you'll see later on in this month that I did a revisited reaction to Captain America Brave New World, even though that I did a review on it. But it's because that I want to be able to share that spoiler talk, because now that everybody's got a fair chance on seeing it and it's not in the theaters anymore. So that's why I do it. Anyways, circling back to Jurassic World Rebirth, I thought the cast was great. I thought they were phenomenal. The major standouts, in my opinion, were definitely Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey. I thought they were absolutely incredible. Rupert Friend was great as his character. I believe that even with I believe that I couldn't believe that they had more minor roles in Jurassic World in this movie, like Ed Skrein. I couldn't believe that how much of a small role that he had. So just expect a small role. I would say, like, even like the actors for who were playing the family, I think did a good job. I think that they did a good job. I think that it was pretty interesting that they, on the choices that they made in order for them to survive being on the island. So also with Manuel Garcia Rulfo, Luna Blaze, David Iacono, and Audrina Miranda, I thought they did great as the Delgado family. I thought that they were great. It was interesting that they took this direction and they pulled the Jurassic Park 3, which in terms of we had William H. Macy and Tia Leone's characters, that they were a divorced couple, and they had a son that went on a trip, and with Tia Leone's character's new boyfriend getting, well, spoilers in case if you haven't seen Jurassic Park 3. And the reason why I know this now is because I just recently recorded a reaction to it, but I didn't get the chance on getting it up before seeing Jurassic World Rebirth. But her new boyfriend ends up getting eaten by dinosaurs, seeing later on, and the son has to basically go and survive on his own, and they're trying to lie their way into getting those who's had experience with Jurassic Park, and then them getting recruited, like Alan Grant, and having to then rescue him. And when the truth slips out, then things get ugly. In this case, it's the other way around. And it's interesting that it's the other way around. And that one isn't really a spoiler, just because that was already given in the trailers. So it's interesting that they pulled a reverse Jurassic Park 3, but this one, they do it to where it makes sense. They do it to where it doesn't feel like a weak point. And I think that it's nice that I think Jurassic World Rebirth was a shot at trying to give not only like the scientific part of surviving in a Jurassic World environment, but also the civilian standpoint of surviving in the Jurassic World environment. I haven't seen Camp Cretaceous or the Chaos Theory animated shows on Netflix, which I have a feeling that maybe I might do a reaction to them, or I might just end up just watching them on my own. I think I might just end up watching them on my own, because I have so many things that I have going on that I need to react to. But I feel like the nice thing about Jurassic World Rebirth is that, you're, like I said, you're seeing it from the scientific standpoint, you're seeing it from the civilian standpoint, but they do it in a way where it's equally done correct, and they're equally give each other these moments to shine in points where it doesn't feel like one's overshadowing the other, but instead they're complementing each other and they're handing each other parts that makes it a solid entry. And I honestly put this as a top 3. So ahead of time, which I started thinking about things and I changed my mind about certain things, my ranking for the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies And this is my official one, and I'm going to stick by this until hopefully, if the eighth one gets released and they talk about the eighth one soon, then things will have to change a little bit. But for the time being, for our all-time favorite so I'm going to go from bottom, 7th to first place. The 7th place is going to be Jurassic World 3. 7th place is going to be it's going to be a Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. 5th place is going to be Jurassic World Dominion. 4th place is going to be The Lost World Jurassic Park. This one, Jurassic World Rebirth, is going to be number 3. Number 2 is going to be Jurassic World. And the all-time is definitely going to be the first Jurassic Park. So I feel like it's funny that the first 3 in these trilogies or potential trilogies is amongst the top 3, because I think that especially with Jurassic World Rebirth, I think it's a very solid entry. It doesn't feel like a traditional Jurassic World movie, which is something interesting, because it feels like a little bit of other previous movies from director Gareth Edwards, because it feels a little bit like Godzilla. Tone and atmosphere feels a little bit like Godzilla at some points. It also feels like Rogue One in the beginning, and it's an interesting thing, and you might be asking why. In my opinion, it just kind of feels like it because the way that it's shot feels kind of like an opening for it kind of feels like Godzilla and Rogue One in terms of the interaction that these human characters have, and it's not a bad thing. I actually think that it's an interesting difference. It doesn't feel like it's trying to copy anyone, but it does feel like it's trying to basically reinvent the franchise and trying to reinvent itself. And it's not a problem. I don't think that it's a problem on having to try to feel different. And it's feeling more like it's trying to move past what the originals feel. But once you get thrown in with the dinosaurs and everything, it does feel like Jurassic Park, and it does feel like Jurassic World, which is the nice part. Well, in the opening, it doesn't feel like it. It just feels like it's something else. And it's nice because when you're not having your characters from previous entries come back and you're starting something brand new, you want it to feel like something else. And you want to have it feel like it's being reinvented. And I think that it's a great thing that Jurassic World Rebirth does feel like something different. It doesn't feel something like it's copying its predecessors. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's copying its previous entries. It feels like they're moving forward, like they really are moving forward, and that Jurassic World has become a bigger situation now that dinosaurs and humans are coexisting at this point. And it's a scary thought, and they do bring up the questions about authenticity and if it's a good idea for these dinosaurs to be walking around, which I was talking about it on my reviews for my reactions for Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, and I'll talk about it a little bit on here, and not to drone on, but I was thinking about if people were asking me the question on is it a good idea to keep these creatures around, and in my opinion, I don't think so, because you're basically having scientists that recreate these dinosaurs genetically from DNAs that was absorbed and taken by mosquitoes that were hardened in the sap that turned into ember. And, from there, when trying to use a syringe to take out these blood samples from the actual mosquitoes themselves, it's scary to think that having the technology needed to be able to create them is insane, and then throwing these dinosaurs into an environment they have no understanding of yet, they're not used to, and it's one of those situations where they're thinking, where am I, what am I doing here, why are things the way that they are, what are these things? And it's scary because when they don't have an understanding, they have this defense mechanism that they have up to where they're going to be aggressive, they're going to be violent, they are going to be scared, about what's going on. And even if they were just birthed into existence by humans, they don't have any clue about where they're at. Like I've also mentioned in my reactions, when you see, I don't believe in the millions of years theory. I don't believe in the evolution theory. I believe in the thousands of years theory. Well, it's not even a theory, or I would say concept. I don't believe in evolution. I believe that God created every single creature individually, and I do believe that God did create dinosaurs for a reason. And I do want to say that with this, I feel like Jurassic World Rebirth is one of the entries that I feel like it's going to bring in new life to the franchise, that it's going to be in ways that we don't even know what could happen. I hope that we get a trilogy from this. I really, really hope, because so far, I think that Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be really ramping up the game. This is going to be really ramping up so much. And I think that as time passes by, I think that this is really going to bring in a lot. This is definitely going to be bringing in a lot of new fans, especially for those who are fans of Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, Rupert Friend, and Ed Skrein, and Jonathan Bailey. I think that this is really going to bring in fans. If you're a fan of Wicked, you're going to love it because of Jonathan Bailey. If you are a fan of movies kind of like Green Book or Moonlight or Hidden Figures, you'll love Mahershala Ali. You're going to love this movie. If you're fans of I was going to say Emma Stone, but I don't know where she came from all of a sudden. If you're fans of Scarlett Johansson, like you were fans of her in the MCU as Black Widow, if you're fans of her from other different movies that she's been in, you'll definitely like Jurassic World Rebirth for Scarlett Johansson. And it's just been one of those things where I think that it's incredible. I think that it's nice to see these new actors, that they're being thrown into the Jurassic World and experience. And you can tell that the main three's chemistry is genuine. It's real. I feel like they did a good job on casting these characters, and it feels real. It feels genuine. I think that Gareth Edwards' direction for Jurassic World Rebirth was a smart move. I feel like it definitely was a smart move on their behalf. I think that they knew what they were doing on having to make it the way how it is. So with this movie, there's no post-credit scene, so you can be able to get up and go once the credits start rolling. This is one of the best ones. Like I said, I'm very happy with how things went with I'm really happy with the way how things went with Jurassic World Rebirth. It was definitely a fun experience on getting to experience. And I really, really hope that this becomes a potential trilogy. I really, really do hope so, because I do believe that they're going to make this into a trilogy. I really do believe it. And I'm hoping that they actually go forward with this, because there's so much potential and so many new concepts to talk about, and so many questions that can be brought up. And I think that this is a good thing that we could be able to address and talk about, to where, hopefully maybe the screenwriters will be able to have ideas about and see about what kind of questions do fans of the books and of the movies, what kind of questions do they have? What kind of ideas do they want to see in future installments? So hopefully we do get to that point, because I honestly feel like Jurassic World Rebirth is one of the best re-invitations and reigniting the imaginations that I think that I've seen out of this franchise. And I really love every first entry in this franchise dearly. So I definitely want to see this movie succeed. I definitely want to see a lot more in the upcoming entries if they decide to make it into a trilogy. And if they don't, which I would be disappointed, I think they would have left it on an open-ended ending. So when you see the movie, you'll understand why. But I definitely feel like this was a great entry. This was definitely a really impressive entry. So with that, I think I'm gonna call it there. But yeah, it was a great movie. I thought the direction was really, really, really good for making it feel different. It still retains the same essence and the magic that the original captures, but it also gives a brand new depth and brand new meaning of life into the franchise. So I am happy about that. And I am happy with how things ended up turning out for it. The cast, the crew did an excellent job. The cast has great, genuine chemistry with each other, with antagonistic and protagonistic forces. I think Alexander Desplat, the composer, did a great job at bringing back the themes from the original Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise entries, as well as bringing in his own score to the mix. I think that this was definitely a fun ride, and for it being in 40X, it was a great experience. If you go see it in 40X, actually, just as a quick note, you are gonna get an experience, like a great experience. I got a free poncho from it. I still kept it up sealed in the bag because I think it's definitely a collector's item at this point. And I'm gonna tell you this: they time the jolts, they time the jump scares really well. They do great when it comes to the visual effects, or at least when you and the visual effects in the 40X theater, the movements, the kicks, the air blowing, the snow, which there isn't any snow, but there are some moments where it kind of feels like they used the snow fog machine, the fog, everything timed on time. And it's going to be so great, especially if you're a person that loves watching thriller movies and action movies. This is going to be a great experience for you guys, so just to keep a note out there. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching my non-spoiler review for Jurassic World Rebirth. If you guys want to see more reactions like this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Plus, I will be doing my non-spoiler reviews to Superman in 4DX and Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four First Steps in 4DX later on this month. I'm super excited for those ones. Hopefully I can get to do reactions to the Fantastic Four movies, and hopefully I might be able to get those reactions out before the upcoming Fantastic Four movie comes out. And I want to do it in respect to the franchise, as well as I heard that Julian McMahon passed away yesterday from a private battle with cancer at age 56, and rest in peace to Julian McMahon. And prayers to his family and loved ones, and hopefully that they get through this very, very tough time, and they're given the time to fully digest what's going on and fully grieve for what's happening. And hopefully that his presence that he's had in the movies, especially playing Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movies from the early 2000s, hopefully it brought a lot of joy, which I know that it did. And the other movies and shows that he was in, I hope that they brought a lot of joy to people, and that they're able to see something in themselves somehow with his characters. And I might not have seen much with him off the top of my head thinking about it, and the only movies I could think of is Fantastic Four. But hopefully he brought something to other movies that a lot of fans were really excited about. And because for me, it was Fantastic Four, and it was a great experience, and it helped redefine, or it actually helped define a part of my childhood memories. So I definitely want to say thank you to Julian McMahon for that, and may God bless his family. Rest in peace, and thank you for also helping to redefine a little bit of my childhood with Fantastic Four, and helping to make Fantastic Four one of my favorite childhood memories and my favorite superhero memories of all time. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media, I have got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, aka X, and my Discord and my Discord server. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all. Stay safe. Be sure to look out for my reactions to the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies. And I will see you in the next videos. All right. Bye, guys.